And welcome back to another video, guys, with myself, Millionaire Incorporated. And today we're going to go through the 7 steps that will help you become financially free in 2021. Now, before I actually get into this video, I have to let you know that I'm not a financial professional or financial advisor, and that anything I say in this video, you should go seek professional financial advice for your own circumstances and situations. These are just steps and things I've done which has helped me become financially free myself, and that has helped me progress to become financially successful as well. So before we get into the video, guys, don't forget, always forget, hit the subscribe button. If you've at any stage during the video you find that the content is great, just give me a like or even leave a comment afterwards. I'll be looking forward to hearing that. So we'll get started with the video, guys. Now, a lot of us probably work, or at some stage spend a bit of time working on our mentality, mindset, things like that, but we don't always necessarily work on our finances and setting ourselves up to become financially stable or financially free. So we always see these people on Instagram marketing these riches and this exuberant lifestyle, which some of us aspire to actually having, but it's not necessarily that easy to achieve. And they promote courses to become wealthy or rich and things like that. And we now sometimes take them hoping for that end result of financial freedom or riches and being able to buy that Ferrari or that house or go on that holiday or whatever it might be that you desire. But unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily work like that. Those people who have created those courses probably have a financial framework in place that allows them to kind of have and live that lifestyle for themselves. So I'm going to go through with you today the 7 steps that will help you become financially free and successful in 2021. Now, the first step I always say in taking is know where you're actually starting from. So sit down, create a kind of, do a bit of stock accounting of yourself and where you are personally and financially. Like, see how much money you've got in the bank, how much debt you've got, any assets you might have, things like that. So you can kind of get an idea of where you're starting from, so you can kind of create a better plan for yourself moving forward. Now, I've done this myself many times. I sometimes even do it once a year, kind of sit down and actually go, all right, where am I now? How far have I progressed this year? And where do I want to go? What other moves can I make? And if you're watching this at the start of this year, it's probably a great time to actually sit down and do that. So same thing with like going on a road trip or anything, you always have like a starting point. So you kind of typically start at home when you're going on a road trip. So doing a bit of stock accounting for yourself is like starting at home for your finances. The second step, and a very important one, is to actually pay yourself first. So from any money you get coming in from work, pay yourself no less, or try to pay yourself no less than 10% of your income. Now, this might seem a little bit strange to you, or a bit of an odd concept, but if you read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which I outlined in the previous video, he actually explains to you why you should pay yourself first. And a lot of the other financial books as well similarly explain to you why you should pay yourself first. And the reason is, when you get your money in, you always have money for rent, for groceries, for going out, for other expenses and things like that, but you rarely ever have money, or rarely ever do you pay yourself. So that's why it's always very important to actually pay yourself first. And a good figure to actually start with is, like I said, 10%, or if it can't be 10% in the initial stages, maybe $10, $50, $20 a week. Something that will actually help set you up financially over the long run. And with that 10%, put it aside, don't touch it, because you'll be using it at a later date. The third step is to actually create a budget for yourself. And you want to create a detailed budget. You want to know kind of where your money is coming in from and where your money is actually going out. Because we can actually, at this stage, we can actually start making adjustments to our spending habits, which will actually help us over the long run. Now, when I'm saying make a detailed budget, literally incorporate everything you might spend your money on through a year. So gifts, birthdays, holidays, rent, all those kind of things. Create a detailed budget for yourself so that you can actually stick to easily. And then once you create that budget, look for areas where you can make adjustments so that you can have more money left over for yourself to actually either invest or even enjoy a little bit more as well, if that's what you want to do. So that's like saying maybe cut back on expenses like buying lunch at work. Maybe bring yourself a packed lunch maybe 4 out of 5 days a week kind of thing, and have like that fifth day as a bit of a luxury kind of thing, or cutting back on going out for dinner, something which I've had to do recently myself, which I don't like having to do, but I've had to do it. And that will you'll see a massive change in your finances, and also how much money you actually spend on things that sometimes aren't that necessary. So, like I said, the third step is create a budget and actually stick to it, and remove any excess expenses that you might be able to make. Once we've actually created that budget and actually started cutting back on some unnecessary expenses, we want to look at removing all or as much of our toxic debt as possible, and also as quickly as possible. Now, the debts which I'm talking about are things like credit card debt, car loans, student debts, store credit, things like that, where they're not actually bringing you any benefit and costing you a lot of money over the long run. Now, I didn't incorporate home loans and mortgages and things like that on there, because when we typically borrow money to buy a property or an investment, which is another strategy to actually increase your wealth, we're kind of borrowing money where the return is actually above what we're actually paying to hold that debt. Now, that's something I'll go over in another later date, another video which I'll create for you guys. But right now I just want to focus on the debt, your credit card debt in particular. Now, the typical interest rates, or here in Australia, range from 10 to 20 something %, which is excessively high. So we want to try and remove that as quickly as possible. So you want to obviously not just make your monthly repayments, but even kind of go above that monthly repayments. Now, you may not have had a bit of wiggle room in your budget prior, but now that you may have looked at areas you can kind of cut back on in your expenses in your budget, you now have a little bit more money for yourself to actually pay off those debts a little bit faster, so that the money that you're using to pay those debts can actually be used for yourself to invest, to increase your wealth and your income over time. Now, the fifth step is where things start getting a little bit more fun, and we want to start looking at ways we can actually increase our income and increase our earnings of money. And this can be done at almost any place of our work. You kind of want to look for ways that you can kind of either upskill your current skills so that you can actually have a bit more money coming in, either per hour, or maybe work a little bit longer for extra hours, a bit of extra money there, or even promotions within your workplace where you're going to get, same thing, more money per hour. It might come with a little bit more responsibility, but at the end of the day, you're increasing your earnings, which is something we want to try and work on. Now, you've probably noticed that no matter which job you may have had, there's always someone who's on a similar role position earning more money than you. And when you look at those people, they are typically really skilled at what they actually do, or work a bit harder or more efficiently and effective than what you do. So you always want to try and be the best worker you are in your place of employment, so that the management or CEOs and things like that look at you and go, okay, this guy's someone we want to kind of rely on more, let's give him either more work or increases our earnings and stuff like that. So the more value you also bring to your company, the more they'll kind of bring to you or give back to you. And something if you can't actually increase your earnings at work, something you might also want to look at doing is creating a bit of a side hustle at home. Now, there are actually many ways of increasing your kind of income or putting money to work for you outside of the workplace, where you can kind of earn a little bit more money over time that you can actually use to invest for yourself as well. So things like stock trading or day trading, currency trading, flipping items on eBay, like cards, clothes, electronics, things like that. Gary Vee is a great place to look at. He outlines a few places you can actually look at doing that. My brother and I have actually done furniture, where we've actually bought used furniture, maybe sometimes restored it a little bit, and actually sold it off for a reasonable profit. So something to consider that as well if you want to look at ways of increasing your income. Another thing is also freelancing. I'll go over all those ideas in another video for you guys as well. Now the sixth step is where things really start taking off for you. And that money which you've been putting aside for yourself, where you've been paying yourself first, I'd say 10%, 15%, or whatever you increase it to, you can now actually use that money and actually put it to work for you to actually start increasing your wealth and also passive income. Now there's a number of things you can actually put your money to work for you. So like buying a business, investing in stocks, buying property, things like that, where the money which you put into it will actually give you some money back over time. Now there is, like I said, a vast array of investment tools out there and products you can actually do to do this. So what I say in the initial stages, try be as cautious as possible, because you don't want to lose that money that you've actually just spent, say an entire 6 months or a year or however long it was, saving that you're going to use to invest. So Warren Buffett has a great quote with this, and one of his rules of money is don't lose money. Pretty basic, pretty simple. That will actually help you kind of have more money available to work for you, and over time those returns will kind of compound and increase your wealth and also your income, which if you can do it without actually physically working, I see that as a massive win. Now the seventh step is pretty basic. It's literally just repeating those steps and sticking to those plans and things. So knowing where you are financially, sticking to your budget, and maybe modifying it from time to time, reducing debts, paying yourself first, increasing your income, and investing. Literally, like I said, keep just working through those steps and to increase your wealth and income. And as you'll find that over time, you'll have more and more money coming into you to make your life a lot easier and becoming financially free. With that, in the initial stages, what I just say, or what I did for myself, is I still didn't change my spending habits. I tried to keep as much money working for me as possible so that I had more money to invest over time. And now I'm kind of taking the foot off the accelerator a little bit, and I'm enjoying a little bit of that kind of extra income from time to time. So like I said, hope that video all the information has been useful for you guys. Don't forget, drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you think. I'll like to hear from you guys, and look forward to you on the next one.